Show Business, A Business of Blockbusters. In 1999, Alan Horn, new in his role as president and chief operating officer of the film and television studio Warner Brothers, embarked on a high-stakes strategy. Entrusted with the power to decide which movies the studio would make, the coveted green-lighting decision, he chose to single out 4 or 5 so-called tentpole or event films, those thought to have the broadest appeal, among its annual output of around 25 movies, and support those picks with a disproportionately large chunk of its total production and marketing budget. Other studio heads had produced daring big-budget movies before, of course, but no one had, as Horn put it, really pursued it as a strategy. None had, in other words, dared to make a handful of such big bets each year at the expense of the attention lavished on a larger number of smaller movies. In the movie business, the product is the same price to the consumer regardless of the cost of manufacturing it, whether its production budget is $15 million or $150 million. So it may be counterintuitive to spend more money, Horn told me. But in the end, it is all about getting people to come to the theater. The idea was that movies with greater production value should be more appealing to prospective moviegoers. Audiences respond to movie stars, but those lead to higher costs. Audiences respond to special effects, but those lead to higher costs too. And you have to let audiences know you are there with your movie, really market it as an event. But that, of course, further adds to the costs. You can only do so many of those big films in a given year. Over the next few years, as Horn's strategy played out at Warner Brothers, another executive was quickly moving up the ranks at a rival media conglomerate. Jeff Zucker, a former field and executive producer of The Today Show, climbed up to president and later chief executive officer of NBC's television group, overseeing what was then the #1 rated television network in the United States. In 2007, after taking the reins at parent company NBC Universal, he led a push to cut the rising costs of programming at the television network, in many ways the exact opposite of Horn's strategy at Warner. "We're managing for margins instead of ratings," asserted Ben Silverman, whom Zucker had appointed as co-chair of NBC Entertainment. Fresh off a career as a high-flying television producer in his own right, Silverman was seemingly taking all the right measures to increase profits and reduce risk in his new role as a network executive, betting less on the most expensive dramatic content and instead focusing on intellectual property and formats that could be acquired at more reasonable prices, relying less on A-list actors and producers who could command fees of sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode, and cutting back on pilots that often came with a price tag several times that of a regular episode, but generally did little to gauge true demand for a new series. By 2011, Horn could look back on an unparalleled winning streak. Under his leadership, Warner Brothers became the only studio in history to surpass $1 billion at the domestic box office for 11 years in a row. All indications are that profits had seen a strong upward trajectory as well, helped by smash hits such as the Harry Potter movies, The Dark Knight, The Hangover and its sequel, Happy Feet, $1 Million Baby, Ocean's 11 and its 2 sequels, and Sherlock Holmes. Alan Horn's stock had risen so high that when Walt Disney in 2012 was looking for a new executive to bring the magic back to its troubled studio, it recruited Horn, only a year after his retirement from Warner Brothers, to take over as Walt Disney Studios chairman. He's earned the respect of the industry for driving tremendous, sustained creative and financial success, Disney's chief executive officer Bob Iger said. And Zucker?